What's up, guys? It's a balmy 15 degrees outside in Pittsburgh, but we're about to get ready for episode 3 of Tattoo Table Talk. I'm going to have my friend Josh Petrelli in here. He is a very talented barber. He was my barber before I was bald, and we're going to have a great conversation today. We're also going to be working on a really dope Game of Thrones themed leg sleeve that we're starting for him. So I'm excited for it. And yeah, let's get into it. I got my boy Josh here. Josh Petrelli. He's a very talented barber, owner of Luxury Barber Studio up in Zelionople. Josh used to cut my hair before I was a bald fuck. And yeah, I've tattooed him before. Has a cool story. And today we're going to be working on a Game of Thrones piece, first of probably many on a leg sleeve, and so yeah, we're gonna get into it. Cool. We'll do a little icebreaker here.
Let's do it.
So I usually do. Tell me about your first tattoo experience, Josh.
So a little backstory, I guess. So I was 16, 17. My friends were all like, everybody's starting to get tattoos. And like I told you before, dude, it was so hard to find somebody. So we found these guys out in Bethel Park, and a bunch of my friends were getting tattooed there. And I was 17, and I had other friends that had gotten scripture down our backs.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, dude, I want to do that too.
Hell yeah.
So I do it. I go, the most intimidate, and I was not one to be intimidated even ever now, but yeah, especially back then. And it was the most intimidating situation I'd ever been in my entire life.
Because you didn't know anything about what the fuck was going on.
This grown-ass man's about to shove a needle in my back, and I'm like just tweaking. Like,
you're like, dude, what the hell? Nobody told me about this.
Yeah, I remember worst thing ever to do before a tattoo is get high. I got high, obviously.
Yeah.
Smoked a bunch of weed.
Smoking a bunch of weed before the tattoo appointment.
Thinking that,
not the best idea.
No, thinking that was like gonna help. It actually made it worse. I was, did scripture down my back, and so I'm like reverse cowgirl in this chair, facing the back of the chair, and dude, it was the worst. Like, he'd start on the left side of my back, go to the right. By the time he got to the right, my whole back was numb.
Was it heavy? Like heavy? Is it a heavy tattoo?
Dude.
Like,
yeah, you should see it.
Like he was heavy-handed with it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And dude, I was sweating profusely. And I remember, and it was like a large piece. It goes from the base of my neck all the way till about my tailbone. About a little bit more than halfway down my back.
Yeah.
And it was just the same process, line by line by line. If I'm gonna be honest, so I got the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
Pulled one off the internet. It is not like the authentic Lord's Prayer.
What do you mean? It's like
it's missing like a line or two.
No way, bro.
I swear, I'm gonna show you, and then I'll show you after this. Yes, bro. I realized it after the fact.
But he didn't check that.
So, dude, I gave it to him. He was like, "Here, let's do this version." And I was like, "Okay," and I just trusted him. You know what I mean? And I didn't know I couldn't recite the Lord's Prayer. I wasn't even religious, bro. I was like never one to follow, but I was like, that looks sick. Let's do it. And yeah, bro, I did it, and I remember shaking like. So
is it vertically on your spine?
Yes, from top to bottom, and then there's like a crown with a cross
at
the base of it. Yeah,
I got it. Okay,
the cross kind of sticks out. It was brutal, and I don't know if that's shaped, because dude, tattoos just like don't bother me very much. They just don't. And I don't know if that's because I went so big to start, or I don't know what, bro, but it was brutal.
It was not great.
No, it was not great. It was absolutely awful.
But the redeeming thing is you had the matching swag with your boys. You guys all had the script down the back.
We all do.
And that felt tough in the moment. You were like, yeah, bro, that's hard as fuck.
No, yes. Like, we're going to the wave pool. We're just going to be like,
dude, yo.
Script it up, dude. Let's do it. And
that's fire. Back with the stars and straps.
Yep, 100%.
Hats, right?
This is that time frame. Yep. I mean, like getting like a Mary or a Jesus was like cool. And, creativity was not at an all-time high, I would say,
yeah.
in the tattoo industry. Or
Sure. When was that? Like what?
2006.
Damn.
2006. Well, it was right after I graduated. It was that year. It was that whatever summer or fall. Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, so first tattoo in the books. Went for a big one.
Yep.
It was maybe not exactly what you expected, but
no.
Tell me a little bit. You said you got that in Bethel Park. Tell me a little bit about like where you grew up.
Yeah.
And all that.
So originally, like my mom's from the country, my dad's from the city. We were for the first couple of years of life. After I was born, for the first 5 years, we lived in Penn Hills for a little while, and then we lost the house, so we moved closer to the city, and we lived in multiple places from, West End all the way to like South Hills. So just kind of, moved all over, and my parents live in Bridgeville now. That's like the first and only last house they've owned. We just went from landlord to landlord for a while there. And yeah, so I grew up all over there, pretty much from the West End to South Hill, just ran all over there. I mean, all through the city for the most part, man. It's city kid, Yeah. And lived.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Chartiers Valley.
Okay.
That's where I went to high school. Yep.
So that's kind of out in the South Hills a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep. So I grew up with kids like from Bridgeville all the way to Carnegie. But back then, like, we dated girls from other schools. You know what I mean? Skating was like a big thing when I was a kid. So you would always, kids from Montour to West Allegheny, all up and down there.
Yeah.
Yep. All down the Panhandle.
So when did you was there ever experience like when you were a kid, for me at least, I remember first going to this barbershop with my mom actually when I was probably like 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back on it, bro, it was like a very like country type barbershop. Like it was just an old guy and you got a boy cut.
Yeah.
When you got a haircut, my mom would call it a boy cut. This guy was a Marine veteran. He would just do a high and tight fade.
Yep.
But I don't know, something about the guys in the barbershop, the old guys with the camo that were bullshitting.
Sure.
And they had the buck antlers on them. But like I always thought that was super fun. Even though I didn't even know anything about looks or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But it was just the experience. I was like, oh, this is a cool place,
It's the culture, man.
Did you ever have a moment when you were younger where you were like, oh, this is a cool thing?
For sure. Like, as a kid, it was like, once I got to that age where, like most kids now, where you start getting into the styles, you know what I mean? I think probably the first, because my parents didn't cut my hair forever. I had like, as a child, dude, I had like to the butt mullet, curly mullet.
No way.
Went from like,
bro, you gotta show me a picture of that.
Dude, I will. Went from fro to mullet, like it was, and then, you get to that like grade school, intermediate age, like where the bowl cut was cool, and then like I remember like it was just wherever we could get it cut. And then I remember the first old man shop I went to, I can't remember the name, and you experience all these pictures on the wall. It looks like you're in a museum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, it just got totally butchered. You get one good haircut, then you get 10 shitty ones. And, we went through the whole frosted tip era and, whatever. But then I remember around grades, being in like grade school or middle schoolish age and finally going to like a real barbershop.
Yeah.
Like what I know and what I feel to be real barbershop. And
was that out like in the South?
That was in the West End. I was Stratmore. That was the first Stansbury's barbershop. And that changed my life. I mean, to what it is today. That culture, man, that community.
What was it like? Like, paint me a picture of
God. Like,
walking in that shop.
Yeah, sure.
What was it like?
I mean, dude, these are like hood superstars. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like neighborhood superstars. Like you walk in and guys are lined up to the right, old carpet floor, and just had that smell, like that barbershop smell.
Yeah, what's that old school pomade
just
or aftershave that people use?
Yeah, like Pinard, like just smell of like, the aftershave and the talcum powder. It just smelled like that, dude. And I could still smell it. just walk in, man, and just like you're just watching the information flow, and you're just seeing, like, you know what I mean, the camaraderie, and everybody's bullshit and secrets are being exchanged. And I just wanted to be that, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that source of information, like, you know, or that trusted person, you know, getting the secrets. And those dudes were just larger than life, man. They were like celebrities, you know, like everybody loved them. Just, it was unbelievable, man. You go in the back and there's like leather couches, lounging. I think there was like a PlayStation in there or like something like that at the time. And everybody would hang out. There was a corner store across the street. You know what I mean? You just spend your whole day there.
Yeah.
We would get dropped off and we just spent, because it would take hours to get in, and we just spent our whole day there, bro. And it was the best, man. It was just the best, those guys. And they were living a certain lifestyle as a kid that I was infatuated with. And I thought that...
Were they kind of like mafia type? Or
it's kind of how it felt. I mean, it's kind of
felt like that.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it was a typical like city shop. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, you know, things I won't say were going on. Sure, not in the shop, but just like those type of personalities were there, and just like people you look up to. I mean, as a kid, I was infatuated with all the wrong shit. You know what I mean?
Goodfellas.
I was that type. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too, bro.
I was attracted. You know what it is, man. You're a kid, you're attracted to certain things that you find out later just you shouldn't have been into. Attracted to. But the lifestyle, man.
Bro, if you're a young man and you didn't have an era where all you had defined by that was Scarface, then I'm judging you a little bit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
that's
like,
okay. You gotta learn. You gotta.
It's very different, man. Nowadays, like, kids can look up to influencers and streamers and whatever. Like, we had, you know, music videos and shit like that, and movies, and that's what, you know, that's what was cool to me, man.
That was it.
You know what I mean? And I wanted to be that. Failed at it like many people do, but that's what I wanted, you know.
Sure. Okay,
and I
so
thought that was my avenue, you know.
What? And so, go back. You said you tried something and failed at it. What was that?
Just living like
that.
Living
like that. Like being
man.
like a
Just
I get
like
it.
You know what I mean? Like my best friend's dad was the dope man, and you know what I mean. And my parents busted their ass and were never around, and you know what I mean. And I spent a lot of time with friends. I had different characters to look up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that shaped my mindset on what was a man, what I wanted to be. You know, it's a very lazy lifestyle with massive consequences. You know what I mean? And I tried that, and you know, that took me down a dark path, and you know what I mean? And you know, sometimes you can't do shit like that and be a user. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man.
So, well, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, a little bit, but let me back up to like, at what point did you think about getting into cutting hair?
I was an obsessive person, bro. Like super obsessive. I'd always fix my collar, make sure my undershirt was poking out just enough. Yeah. Real obsessed with my hair. Nowadays it's different with these kids. Like, you know, back then everything was about your shape up, your edge up, your lines. So I just started, like, you know, in between haircuts, cleaning myself up, you know, and then my friends saw that, thinking like I went to the barbershop without them or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I told them the truth, and you know what I mean, this is what, you know what I mean, I just do it myself at home.
Yeah.
So they started to want me to do that for them, and that's just kind of how it rolled. And I think I learned at an early age that, like, I wasn't meant for school, so I wasn't going to college, didn't have the money to go to college. I wasn't a book person. I'm a visual person, you know what I mean? And I think, and I realized, like, man, like, you know, I think my intentions at first weren't pure, but I wanted to be a businessman. Yeah. And my dad always was. So I think, like, you know what I mean? And I thought barbering was like that way. So I just kept cutting my friend's hair. And
so you were like in high school or like middle school?
Yeah, I was in high school. I started at 17. I've been doing it for 20 years.
Wow, 20 years.
Yeah.
All right, so
a couple of years after that, I ended up getting an apprentice at that same shop that kind of, you know, that I went to as a kid.
Okay, so the shop that you kind of first were like, man, this is something, like there's a feeling going on here.
Yeah.
That was the first place that gave you a foot in the door.
They definitely did, man. I'm forever grateful for that. Did I capitalize on that, and did I achieve goals set? No. no, man. I was doing stupid stuff. I mean, these guys were, I didn't realize the opportunity I had at the time. And they gave me a massive opportunity, man. I was already ahead of the game, Mark. You know what I mean?
So you were 17, you were cutting hair yourself, and then how did you approach them and say?
So it was a couple years later.
Okay.
It was the guy that was my barber, and I'd ask him things. I was observant. I bought all the same stuff. I'd ask him all kinds of questions, and I told him I was cutting hair.
So he knew you were cutting hair.
Yeah, he knew. So
is that in the barber world? Is that kind of like tattooing, where it's like, tisk, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he was cool about it?
No. He didn't care. No, he loved it.
Oh, that's sick.
He was very instrumental, and there's a full circle moment later on in my career where I was actually able to, hook him up with, he ended up working with me down here in the South Side.
No way.
Yeah, man, we got to work together again, and that was great, man. But he kind of was my in. The guy that owned the shop came home, and he was trying to get things back up and going, back steady again. And he gave me an opportunity to apprentice there. And I showed him a couple of haircuts, a couple of pictures, and he was like, "You start Monday." That was it, man. Yep.
And so, what does it look like for people that don't? I'm not fully familiar with it. Like, you go to barber school or you apprentice, or how does that work?
One or the other. Yeah. Now, for me at that time, though, the barber school had shut down, so there was no barber school. The only way you were going to be able to be a licensed professional in either world, I guess, cosmetology or barbering, for barbering, you had to go to cosmetology school or apprentice. So you had to go learn what the women were learning to be able to get a license. Now, and I wasn't entrenched in that world, so it was tough to you couldn't really just. A lot of guys didn't want to apprentice people. You know what I mean? People don't want their time wasted. They don't want you leaving and going and working for somebody else.
Yep.
Poaching clients. There's all sorts of things.
Sure.
That happened with that. But yeah, at that time there was no school, so that was my only lane.
So, how long does an apprenticeship in barbering typically last?
To be honest, not long enough.
Not long enough.
Not long. Well, I would say apprenticeship.
Were there state regulations that say how long they need to be?
Yes, so it's 9 months. It's 9 months.
Okay.
I'd say this. Apprenticing in a barbershop 9 months is good. Going to school for 9 months, not long enough.
Yeah, because it's not the same as the real world experience.
It's not. And experience is everything, man.
Yep.
It's reps. It's just like tattooing, man. Like, you got to put, ink to skin, clipper to head, man. Like, I could tell you, it's like the corny saying, man. You can lead a horse to water, bro. Like, I could tell you, I could show you myself, but until you do it, and you're going to get more experience apprenticing in a barbershop than you are at school.
Yes, I see. Now, do people these days not really do it? Like, okay, for tattoo apprenticeships, I wouldn't say they're completely dead.
Okay.
But they're not common.
Oh, okay.
So now, granted, we don't have the regulations in Pennsylvania, which is fucking crazy for everybody watching. We don't have regulations on tattooing like many states do.
Right.
They're way more lax. But, basically at this point now, with the wealth of information out there on the internet,
sure,
most people are just kind of self-taught, and that can work out too, you know, for what it's worth. But is barbering still, have you seen a huge shift to, okay, everybody's only doing barber school, or do people still do apprenticeships? What does that look like?
Massive. People are way more fortunate now. School's been reopened for some time now. And they offer, just like any college, they offer, federal and state funding. So you could get a grants and loans to go.
Oh,
so
nice.
I remember when they reopened, dude, they were going based off your credit score, and they, it's 40 hours a week, bro. It's literally job hours, and they wanted you to pay, $500 a month, but it was a lot cheaper then. But still, if you're not working a job, how are you going to pay for that? And so now way more fortunate. Because of my experience, I am 100% more willing to apprentice. But I see why people don't.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced that as well. I've experienced one that's worked out, and I've experienced two that have not worked out.
Now, were you apprenticing them or?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
And, Lau, let me ask you this. So in the world of tattooing, there's like almost like an unwritten rule that I've heard of when I started, like that you should be a tattoo artist for 10 years.
Okay.
Before you like become a mentor.
Okay. Yeah.
And now there's all the rules are out the fucking window. People do whatever the fuck they want.
You guys
now,
have no black and white laws.
Yeah, there's no black and white laws. Well, in Pennsylvania. In other states, like for example, I've tattooed in Tennessee, done a guest spot there or whatever. Like they're real strict. Like you have to get you operate out under an apprentice's license for 2 years, and then once you accumulate a certain amount of hours, that's when you apply for your professional tattooing license.
Same.
So but
it's the same thing. It's so.
Is there like a timeline though?
Yeah.
Like, I have to be a barber for X amount of years or hours to be a mentor.
So there's no like unwritten rule. Based off of law, barber law is so you can't apprentice anybody unless you have a barber manager's license. And the only requirement to get a barber manager's license is you have to be a licensed barber for 1 year. Okay. Licensed barber for 1 year, and then you have to take a manager's test, just a multiple choice test, and it's pretty simple.
Okay.
Now there is another, and then there's a barber's teacher license. So you have to be a manager, I believe, for 5 years, and then you could apply to be a barber teacher. And I think that just means you can, I'm almost positive, it doesn't mean you can't, that's how long it takes you to be able to mentor or teach somebody. It's, you could go work at a school. Technically, by law.
Yeah,
but
by law.
You can obtain a barber's license, hold it for a year, apply for a barber's manager's license, and by law and state regulations, you can apprentice a barber for 9 months, 1,250 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But that doesn't. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. But and most people are probably doing it when they have more experience and.
Sure. I mean, sure. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, knowledge is knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're good, you're good. I mean, I see some kids getting good quick.
Yeah.
Now.
You know what? And it takes a real one to recognize that too, because I'm going to have you rotate just a little bit more this way.
Sure.
But it takes a real one to recognize that.
Absolutely.
Because we've talked about this a lot. There's a lot of people in industries like, I would imagine barbering too.
Yeah, man.
And tattooing where it's like, well, these fucking youngins coming up. Yeah. They don't know shit. And it's like, 100%. No, bro, they're pretty good, dude.
They're
I'm not going to lie.
I would say, and look, and I could be like that sometimes too.
Yeah, I get it.
Because we paved the way. A more fortunate and a more, I don't want to say easier, but like a simpler blueprint, right, to success. Yeah. I think that where the lines get crossed is, let's say a kid apprentice comes out of school. They think that to get to, let's say, somebody like myself or one of my partners who's been doing it 10 years plus.
Yeah.
Because the goal is clientele. It's financial security, right?
Yeah.
I think they think that pathway is quick. I think they also sometimes, and it might not even be like direct thought, it might be through action, sometimes think that, they can operate or they're able to operate like we do, right?
Right out the gate, you mean?
Yeah. And I think it's not their fault. I think sometimes it's the fault of the experienced one. Maybe, sometimes can I be more professional? I think about that all the time. But I try to show that through my work, right? I stay late, right? If I have a little bit of time, I'll try to take somebody. Little things like that. Don't be too good for your craft. Don't be too good for the client.
Yeah.
For the food on your table. I think that kind of attitude can come once a little bit of a book can be built. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like, well, I don't have to do these things anymore. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You should.
You should.
You should.
Sure.
Too many clients isn't a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's never enough. You want to get yourself to a point where if you lose 100, you still got 200 sitting there.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? Like anything can happen. Yeah, man.
Honestly, it's a great point because I've been navigating a little bit of a change recently where I like increased my prices after 3 years.
Right, and that's one of those things that can do that. Yeah.
And it's tough because some people were like, hey, this is out of my budget. And I was like, look, like that's totally fine. Like hopefully, you know, we'll be able to work together in the future.
Sure.
It's not because I'm like better than that. That's still good money.
No.
It's just that now with the demand that I've had, like
if
I have a bunch of people willing to pay me X amount higher every day and I only want to work one time a week, why am I going to take 75% of that or 50% of that for a whole day? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, and I've experienced that too several times with either like locations. People don't want to travel the time. People, you know, I've had that with price increases too, man, where, you know, especially when I first opened. You know, I was operating under the price that another shop carried. And when I opened my own, people are like, well, it used to be this much. Well, I understand that, but I'm not where it used to be that much. So, you know, and sometimes that's why it's always good to just take people, deal with the BS, deal with the pickiness or the tardiness or whatever, because that person's going to fill the space until, you know, a better client, I don't want to say better client, but somebody that fits your, you know, the way you operate better. You know what I mean? So it's why I tell guys all the time, man, don't be picky now.
No.
You know, get yourself, you'll know when you can be picky.
Right.
You know, and you'll know when it's time to increase your prices. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Now,
and the fall off will always bring more.
Yes, I agree.
Always.
So basically, back to like, you know, your story, you got this apprenticeship at a shop and you kind of said like, man, I didn't make the best of that opportunity. Like, what led, basically fill in the blanks between when you started cutting hair. I know there's a long time, but when you started cutting hair to like when I met you, when you were working at like, you know, on the Southside Barbershop down here on Carson Street. Yeah. Like, what does that time period look like? Obviously, a lot of personal shit and a lot of crazy shit too. But
just chaotic, man. Just just getting in my own way, bro. Just getting in my own way, man. Zero accountability, man. You know, getting kicked out of the shop, man, in and out of jail, just absolutely losing my mind. You know, not really appreciating my craft, always wanting it, but never doing anything to achieve it. Man, and then, I mean, dude, and I just cut out of my house. You know what I mean? I'd travel to people's houses. You know what I mean? And it was never for the love of what I do now. I was chasing something else.
And do you think, so like, you know, you and I were both sober. You've been in recovery for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think you were kind of just like, listen, this is a means to an end for me right now. Like, this is how I get my money to keep doing what I'm doing, which is ultimately not good for us, right?
Yeah, and I always stayed in it enough to, you know, people knew I was a barber. I never fell off. You know what I mean? Like, I never fell off. Like, I never...
You never had like like that guy's homeless under the bridge.
Well, I did that. That was at the end.
Okay, all right. So, but for the most part,
yes.
Well, this is the funny thing about like, you know, talking about recovery. Like, it really does usually have to get to shit like that.
No, 100%.
Most people don't just like say, oh, you know what? I've had a couple rough months.
Nah.
Let me turn my life around.
Thank God.
No way.
Listen, man, and I applaud people like that, man.
Yeah, dude.
People that have the awareness to do that.
If your bottom was not that low, right?
And I just, unfortunately, am just not, like many, I was just not one of those people, man.
No,
you know
I get
mean?
it, bro.
It's dead or in jail, and
So you were in a time where you were kind of dealing with the addiction stuff. You were in and out of jail, whatever. You weren't cutting in a shop. You were kind of cutting
like
people you knew.
7-year gap.
Wow.
I had about so I got out, so I didn't get back into almost about a 7-year gap of not working in a barbershop. 7 years, man.
And that was
Felt
all
like
just
like an eternity.
Cutting your friends, cutting
my friends, working jobs, hustling.
Were you doing other jobs
Pathetically.
outside of like cutting hair? Did you have any like shit jobs that you?
Yeah, of course. Oh my God, dude, you name it. I mean, I tried it. Before I caught felonies, I worked at the liquor store. I roofing. Whatever, dude.
Dude, isn't that funny? Because like everyone that I've ever talked to, I feel like that has an appreciation for life as an entrepreneur has had to work those shit jobs.
100%.
Because now, like, I remember I used to be a landscaper for like 3 summers.
So you know what it's
and I was like, I'm never doing this shit ever again, dude.
No,
like,
right. You know what
shout
it's
out to all the fucking manual labor landscapers.
100%,
Your job is very hard and you don't get paid enough. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, you could kind of look hindsight now, like as, an owner, right?
Right.
Or even somebody, whatever, like barbers and tattoo artists, right? Maybe you work at a shop, but you still run your own business. You are your own boss in a sense.
Yep.
But going through that kind of cycle, dude, you work every position, right?
Yes.
It's like being a CEO now, right? But you've worked it all, right? You've been a grunt. You've been on the line. You've been, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
man.
And dude, it's a rough life experience, I'll say, and I don't recommend it.
So like you were working these fucking shit jobs. You were
I had
cutting
some good
hair
ones
when
too, but
you were cutting hair when you could. But
yeah.
Also, how old were you? Like around that time, like 20, 22?
So
23?
I started my apprenticeship. I think I was 20 when I got my first job in a shop. Started an apprenticeship. I think I was 22, 23. Yeah, I'd say something like that. So yeah.
And then basically, I'm guessing shit just got chaotic at some point.
For the next 5-6 years, yeah.
And then
shit show.
Eventually, you hit your breaking point.
Bad,
and
really bad.
Obviously, whatever you're comfortable, but like,
I don't care. I'm open book.
What was that like? Like you were just like, man, I don't have. Were you lonely at that point? With like, safe to say, most people that are in the ends of their journey, like you basically most likely burned down all your ties to. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, that's a large part of it, man. Like once you're really alone.
Yep.
And I was at a point where I was maybe some people can identify. I was welcoming death.
Yeah.
I used to try to get high to die.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, I did it, and it's unbelievable, man. It's actually unbelievable, and it's almost like I'm lying. You know what I mean? Sometimes I can't believe it, but it ended like my face is all over the news.
Yep.
I'm wanted. And then that's when it really set in.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to be around me, like even the people I was using with, because I'm a means to jail.
Yep.
That actually even happened. You know what I mean? I had about I don't want to call them friends, but I'll say, 2 people at that point that kind of stuck with me because I was willing to do whatever to get high, and and I always shared. So you know what I mean? You know how it is.
Yep.
And man, and I was on the run for about a month. And
damn.
So about a month. Yeah.
Were you quote unquote like homeless?
No, absolutely homeless. Sleeping in laundromats, breaking into apartment buildings, sleeping in the storage rooms.
Damn, bro. And I'm sure all that kind of feels like a fever dream, because I feel like a lot of people don't know, like when you're doing hard drugs, like from my experience, like, and I didn't even really have a long run of months doing the hard shit.
It doesn't take long.
But when I was doing like, meth and shit, like, dude, I was like out of my mind. I can't remember.
No, I know.
It just feels like a fucking dream.
Well, you have to remember though, dude, your life is dedicated to the next one.
Yeah, you don't think about anything else.
You're not, dude, it's not like your life today, right? Okay, I got a tattoo at this time. Then I'm going to film some content. Then I'm going to edit it. Then I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to the
chaos,
gym, right? So
it's just chaos.
Chaos. There's no, it's organized chaos.
Yes.
Right? But there's no schedule. You're on autopilot, and you're getting high, looking forward to getting high again and how you're going to get high.
Yeah.
And you compile that over years and months or however long you do it. And that's how it becomes, like you said, it becomes a fever dream, man. You're like, how the
So you're like, yeah,
happen?
like, now, okay, so when was your moment of clarity?
Oh,
I'll talk to a lot of people that are like, oh man, I woke up in jail or whatever,
Sure.
and they're like, oh fuck, that was when it wasn't necessarily when they changed, but they were like, oh, this is like my moment of clarity, the shit's bad. Because for a while, a lot of people live in that delusion. And that's what we always pray, like that, at least for me, I really pray that people don't continue to live in that delusion, because that happens, you know what I mean?
Of course.
But, you know what I mean? When was that, like, what was that breaking point for you?
I mean, to be honest, and it's going to sound cliche, but I think it goes to say, like what you just said, is it was when the handcuffs got placed on me.
Wow.
I don't think I ever felt freer in my life.
Wow.
And I can remember, long story short, being at a friend's house and, just getting high, whatever. And I could feel it, man. It was unbelievable. I had a cousin, I had a friend, somebody that was trying to help me, trying to get me to turn myself in. Long story short, they end up triangulating the phone. They found me.
Damn.
A mistake I made, but thank God I did it. And I remember, they came, they surrounded the house, they got me, and they put the cuffs on me, about to put me in the back of the car. And I could actually remember, and I was high.
Yeah.
And I can remember feeling like how I feel right now, like feeling clean.
No way.
I swear to God.
Because some people would say,
swear to God, bro.
You know how everybody that's sober in hindsight, they're like, being a fucking degenerate was the greatest thing I've ever done. And I'm like, bro, I say that all the time. I'm like, yo, being a fucking drunk was the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Right.
But it sounds like for you, like in that moment, you were like, oh wow, thank God I'm getting caught. Because you were that low, right?
Like it needed to happen.
Yeah.
Because I would have died, or
you would have died.
I would have tried to run as long as I could.
Or committed more crimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and that was the thing. It's not like I stopped.
Yeah.
It's not like I stopped. And
so that was your first moment of clarity.
100%, but I wasn't done yet.
You weren't done yet.
So,
you had to do some more R&D.
I wasn't done, but I knew I had a chance, right? I had a chance to get ahead of it. Went to jail, got bailed out, and thank God, man. Thank God. Thank God.
Was that ACJ?
Yeah.
Is that a rough place? I've heard it's a rough fucking place, bro.
Yeah, man. It's I don't recommend it. Anybody that's gonna watch this that's been in that situation, you already know what it is. It's indescribable, man. You could describe it and it just sounds like jail. You have to experience it, man. It's I mean, you want to feel less than. You want to feel less than a human being. The conditions are awful. And it sucks when you know how to operate in there, you know what I mean, to make it feel normalized, but it's terrible no matter what you do.
Yeah.
It's an awful place, man. It's not, any of those institutions are. Jail, prison, all of them suck, but that place is awful.
Yeah, bro.
That place is absolutely awful, man.
So you had that moment of clarity, and then you were like, you weren't ready to get
I found
clean.
drugs in jail as soon as I got into processing.
No way.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
So it's in there like that?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, 100%.
It can be.
As soon as I get into the holding cell, dude pukes up a bunch of dimes of crack.
No way.
As soon as Mark, it was like, I'm telling, dude, unbelievable.
See, because I've always told people, hey, man, maybe they just need to get arrested. Like, that's their chance to get fucking... But that's not necessarily always the case, because fucking people get drugs smuggled into jail.
It's an easier environment. It's an easier
because that's all you're focused on doing all day.
100%.
You don't have to live anywhere else. You got a meal, you got a bed.
Bro,
all you got to do is figuring out how to get those drugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine living in an apartment building. You just go down to the next door and somebody has it. You know what I mean? As soon as I'm in there for 2 hours and somebody comes and pukes up a bunch of shit.
Crazy.
This is a true story, and I almost never went to jail with money in my pocket. But if I ever did, I had $10. I had a $10 bill.
Yeah.
Just enough to buy one. And I spent the rest of that time trying to find out a way to smoke it. Do you know what I mean? The whole rest of the time. I made a call not to get bailed out for the first time. I made a call just to let them know I was safe and that's where I was.
Yeah.
And they made, and behind the scenes, they made it work. They got me out of there. And as soon as I got out of that jail, I picked up the first cigarette on the ground that was viable enough for me to stuff that rock into and smoke it.
Jeez, bro. You know what's funny, bro? I got this...
Unbelievable, bro.
That reminds me of The desperation of it.
That's what it is.
Like, I remember whenever I was in rehab, I had this really hilarious counselor that was from the Bronx or something.
Yeah.
And he grew up in the golden era of...
Where were you in rehab at?
In like northeast PA.
What was it called? Coforge?
I know what Coforge is.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was called Huntington Creek.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, and it's a great rehab. It's a small
Super
rehab.
rural, though,
It's not like a bougie rehab, but it's a small rehab, and the counselors really cared about the sobriety.
Yeah.
And anyways, this guy though, he was hilarious. He was from the crack epidemic of the 80s, right? So he's in the 60s, but he was telling us a story of how he said he really thinks that he's like the has the most parking tickets or parking violations in all of New York, because to the point that he didn't have any way to get around except for a bicycle, and he was down to his last money, and he drove across the Brooklyn Bridge to buy a crack rock.
Right.
And he's driving back, and the cops, I guess they all knew him. So they gave him a hard. They pulled over. This is like the 80s, like rough. When New York was like terrifying, bro.
He's in the essence. Yeah.
Yes, you know, like the movies you see. The cops are probably a little bit fucked up too. They're like, yeah, we're gonna fuck with this guy. So they pull over, and he's on his bike, and he said he had a little bell on it or something, and he knew that they were gonna search him.
Right.
So all he had was a handful of peanuts and this crack rock. And he fucking threw the crack rock in his mouth and chewed up the peanuts.
No shit.
Because they thought, so they strip him naked right there on Brooklyn Bridge.
Right.
They cavity search, everything, right?
Yep.
He doesn't have any crack because they never thought to open his, when he opened his mouth, there's a bunch of fucking peanut butter. So they're not thinking anything about it. So he gets back to his place, I guess, and he spits around, he looks, and he can't find it, bro. He swallowed the crack rock.
God.
So then he fucking...
You go through all that.
He does all this shit to basically get it out the other way, okay?
Yep.
After going through his body, you know what I'm saying? He shits out the crack rock and he smokes it, bro.
Dude.
But that's a level of desperation that few can
identify with and understand.
Few can identify with, but to somebody that's been through how crazy addiction is, it doesn't surprise me.
No, it's survival instinct, man.
You get brought to depths that are really subhuman.
You are gonna you live at an animalistic level, man. That's a lot of what the program talks about, but that's truly what it is, man. You reduce yourself to less than anything, an animal. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? You won't shower, you don't take care of yourself, you don't, you know what I mean? You want to take. You know what I mean? You're essentially just a savage in the wild. You know what I mean? Dude. And that's it, man. Survival of the fittest kind of deal, and you know.
So what was the last? When was the process that Josh said, "Fuck it, man, I'm gonna give this shit a shot"? Like, had you ever gone to any recovery shit before?
Oh God, Steve was planning. My brother's an addict too. My brother has a lot of sobriety, man, and
amazing.
I didn't really have a relationship with him, but to keep that short, you know what I mean? So that was kind of like, you know, I had a very naive understanding as a child, you know what I mean? Him going through that at a young age. My brother was young, man, so I didn't example, but I had court-mandated stuff.
He got sober young is what you said.
Yeah, he had to, my brother was wild, man. Not to share his story, but so I had I had some experience, but not enough, and some court-mandated stuff, and I was getting high at those meetings, whatever, but
of course.
I had a time a year before what we just discussed where I, court mandated rehab. I went to jail, they released me to rehab, whatever. And so it was my first real experience clean since I was 11.
Wow.
I'd been getting high in some way or another since I was 11.
Bro.
Yeah.
When was the first time you smoked? Was that like
11.
Weed?
I was
you
weed.
smoked weed?
I was 11 years old.
Did you start drinking or were you?
We experimented with booze, but I never much liked drinking, but I never liked who I was, man. I was vicious drunk when I did get drunk, but my first experience getting high, I was 11 years old. One of my best friends at the time, his brother, he ended up being later in life, convicted murderer.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, California, it's actually a fucking crazy story. He fucking broke out of jail and killing the dude that he fucking broke out of jail with too.
No way.
Swear, man.
Bro, isn't it nuts? Like, you're at the age even when you're like my siblings' age, but I'm just starting to get into that age where it's like, it seems like the consequences of people around me are just like more and more drastic.
And morbid and
crazy
and
as fuck. Like some kid I went to high school with like murdered his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
It's actually, it is, yeah, it's nuts. But he forced me and his brother to smoke. And he told us, like, he would punch us in the chest if we blew it out before he told it.
No way.
Yeah, man. So I was like wanting to do it at the same time. Like, yes, I wanted to smoke, but I did not want to smoke like that. And he forced us to. I was scared to death for my life.
Are you serious? You were really freaked out. It wasn't like
he's a vicious individual, man. He was vicious. He wasn't just like your typical big brother, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, just beat up on you. I mean, he used to abuse.
Yeah.
My friend, man. He was scary.
So
he was like 8 feet tall in my mind. You know.
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. So you're like, oh, bro, we're not fucking exhaling. I swear.
Yeah.
If these lungs collapse.
Yep, dude, smoking out of a Mountain Dew 2-liter bottle with a bowl connected to it.
Bro, you know,
never forget it.
And it's funny because it's easy now for me to look back at like the times when shit was so fucking innocent and fun. Like, I don't know. I remember the first time I think the first time I smoked, I was like 15.
Okay.
And
which is like, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty normal, you know. Like, it was weird because the school that I went to before, there were kids doing like fucking Opanas in like 7th grade.
Yeah.
It was like crazy, bro.
No, I mean,
People were doing opioids like mad early.
Well, that was the early 2000s. That was, I mean, that's kind of the era I came up in, was the pill epidemic.
Yeah, the pill, like the oxycodone fucking.
Yeah, I mean, and
boom.
I'm talking like, and I indulged and was involved in that heavily. And I mean, kids were doing it young. I mean, I knew a kid when I was in my senior year. I was a young kid. He had got a couple concussions, took a couple of pins, and he overdosed and he died.
Yep.
Football player, young kid. But it was just like how Coke was in the 80s. I don't think a lot of people realize that. People kind of look at the end of the road, heroin and all this shit, but people don't realize pills were a lot like how Coke was in the 80s for people back then. It was acceptable. It was a party drug. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like it didn't start out.
It wasn't like oh, I'm fucking shooting up right away.
Secretly doing lines. Like no, we all did that shit having fun.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like a secret. It was a cool thing to do when it was big. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But none of us knew
what was the
end of the road.
No,
bro. You know, most people that started out using stuff like that, man, they all probably woke up with the same story. They didn't realize that it would make them sick.
No.
And make them feel like that. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew that going into it. Most people, at least.
Yeah, and I think what's crazy to me is like, thank God, I really am so grateful that I never I never had a run with opioids. I was always more of an uppers guy and just alcohol and abusing that. But like, you know, I think what's crazy now is like even so many people that I've met in sobriety, like it's sad in a way, but it's also maybe good. Like you got kids now, so I always think about this, like you have no margin or time as a kid to just have fun with drugs recreationally anymore.
No, not like how it was.
You know, it used to be like, oh, if you're getting an Adderall, this is an Adderall. You're getting the Vyvanse, you know, whatever.
Sure. You're getting
Oxy,
you're
this
getting
is
a
Oxy.
bike.
You have no fucking clue now.
No.
Unless you have a drug testing kit. Like you see these 15, 16-year-olds, the first time they do drugs, they die immediately because it's fentanyl. Yep. That's fucking terrifying. It's
awful, man. And that's the problem now is, like you said, the margin of error and the I guess, and I think that's why a lot of people are getting more into the psychedelics and the ketamine and things like that. I mean, I saw like how it was, man. You had your choice, bro. What crowd are you into? Are you into weed and booze?
Yep.
Are you into just weed? Are you into the weed and pills? Are you into psychedelics and LSD and stuff like that, shrooms? Are you like, what are you into it? I was into it all.
Yeah, bro.
I was into every market.
Let's go, baby.
I was into it all.
Get me fucked up, man.
You know what I'm saying? But now, kids don't have that opportunity. And I will say this, though. I do notice, man, that I don't like, but we were doing, kids are like, they're growing up at a slower rate. They're not maturing as fast. We were 16, 17 years old doing grown man things.
Yeah.
Like not the right things, but we were, you know what I mean? We wanted to be grown quicker. These kids are kind of preserving their youth a little bit more.
Yeah.
It comes out as immaturity, but you know.
It's kind of, you think that's a better thing.
I think maybe later in life, not so much, but early on, you know what I mean? Kids,
Yeah.
I noticed that kids are more aware of drugs and alcohol and what it does.
Yes.
I noticed that a lot. I don't see a lot of kids. I mean, kids experiment, but I don't see it at the rate that it was, let's say, when I was a kid or when you were a kid, maybe.
And I think part of that is because right whenever I was a kid was whenever things were just at the tip of the repercussions of the opioid epidemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you had like mid-2000s, people were just raging.
Yeah.
And then around when I was a kid, like 2010, like people were starting to fucking die at alarming rates. And it wasn't like they were dying from oxy. It was like,
the transition.
Hey, this guy was a really good blue collar guy, and all of a sudden he broke his back, and next thing we know, he's fucking a heroin addict.
Dude, it was actually
what the
insane.
fuck?
It was actually
Isn't that nuts?
Like it was like a time to be alive.
Everybody knew somebody that was really. I think what was sad is like everybody knew somebody that really didn't deserve that shit. I was a degenerate and I was looking for shit.
Sure.
But then everybody has those stories where it's like, dude, nobody's immune to this shit. No social class, no amount of willpower.
No, the last unsuspecting individuals, man.
Yes.
The people you look at and you're just like, no way. And everybody knows somebody like that. Family, friends, close circles.
Yeah. So, okay, 100%. So you ended up, when was like your last run?
So that was I went through. I was clean for about a year. I court mandated all that stuff, doing all the wrong things. Man, I'm clean for the first time. having fun. I'm gambling and rehab.
How old are you? 25?
26.
Yep.
Messing with girls. Like I was doing all the wrong things.
Yeah, dude, that's like the early fucking
clean.
Yeah, bro.
Early recovery max.
In recovery, bro, there's like. I went to a halfway house, right?
Oh, God,
and that's the fucking shit where people have these stories. Like, it's honestly, it's kind of funny. It's like a fraternity for people that never went to college.
100%
But like low key, you're doing all the degenerate shit. Sometimes, not always. Some people are really good, but sometimes it's bad because you'll meet somebody and you're like, bro, you're not doing drugs.
It's like high school all over.
But you're not working that program, bro.
The things, and I didn't follow that, man. Get a home group, go get a sponsor, work steps, go to meetings. I didn't do any of that stuff, man. Got a girl, just like got a job, like rebuilt my life, and I was so much ego, so you know what I mean. And then I relapsed, and I went harder than I ever did.
What did that look like? What led to that? Were you thinking? Was it the typical like? I don't really think I'm an addict.
No.
No.
Knew I was.
Fuck it.
I wanted to. Typical like, so at that time I was still hanging out with people from the halfway house that I went to. And it was a DOC halfway house. So it was basically, I got out of jail, went to rehab, and basically went right back to jail. Bunch of dudes that coming out of prison on drug court, rehab, like you had to be on probation or coming out of an institution
to be there.
Like on some sort of paperwork.
Yeah.
So it's around like one of those guys, and I was still hanging out with somebody from there, and you know, I mean, they relapsed, started getting high, and I was getting rides from them to go to my girlfriend's house.
And they didn't get kicked out of the house.
The bus.
No, they didn't get kicked out yet.
We were long since out of there.
Oh, okay.
And they would give me rides, so I didn't have to take the bus, and he had started getting high again. And, you know, got into an argument with my girl. First opportunity and attitude that I got high.
Boom.
Because all along I wanted to get high.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you never stop everybody loves getting high.
Yeah, you didn't turn it. You didn't have that mental shift that you really wanted to give it up.
Exactly. And I went on a run harder than ever.
How long were you out for?
Another year. A whole year. And I got into coke, shooting that.
Yep.
I went right for the gusto, bro. I immediately went to intravenous.
Were you ever into the IV shit before?
Yeah, shooting dope. Yeah. But I started getting into the uppers.
Yeah.
And got into crack and coke, and
to the races, bro.
That was bad, man. And then I robbed my first house, and I didn't stop.
Yeah. And so it ended. Did it end again in jail?
Yeah. And that was, like I said, I was on the news. I was wanted for like 4 or 5 robberies.
Yep.
And
because again, you have to do. You don't even fucking think about it. The moral conscience, your moral conscience is so far gone.
Oh my God.
You're just gonna do whatever you.
I remember saying to myself in my head, I'm dead ass serious. I can remember saying to myself in my head, I know I'm gonna pay for this later, and I don't care.
I don't care.
I'm gonna get this, like, because I knew it would be some time. I had some time, and I didn't care, bro.
Yeah.
I worked a job still. All of us, the whole crew would get high. We get our paychecks on Friday, go to the one guy's house, and we would just get high for the whole week until the money ran out.
Damn.
That's what we did every week.
Crazy. So
So
this last time, you're
man.
you're probably facing some time.
100%. I knew I had to get ahead of it. So I got bailed out, and I got high for about 2 weeks before I got into rehab.
Okay.
And I went on a long-term rehab.
Was that at Cove Forge or whatever?
Cove Forge, man.
Yeah.
Spent about 80 days, 75, 80 days.
Damn, bro,
there.
you went past the 30. Was that your first rehab?
So they have a partial program. So where you live off-site and come back to the rehab every day and do, like, intermingle with women and...
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just, like, longer term. And, yeah, so I did that. And
how old were you at that point?
At this point, I'm 27, turning 28.
Nice. So still young, man.
Yeah.
Still young.
Still young.
So...
Yep.
What was the transition? That was a good. I mean, honestly, man, it might sound crazy to some people, but I love talking about that shit because it really does bring me back to how fragile sobriety is and how easily. That's what people don't realize about sobriety and recovery. A lot of people, people say it's a selfless program. Yeah, and in ways it is, but bro. We're doing this shit. We want to go to meetings because we got to be reminded of how fucked up we can get, bro.
You can't forget, bro.
Because it gets too good, and then we start to think.
And that's the problem. I think, you know what I mean, for a lot of people, and like myself, man, like, you finally start washing your ass again. You, like, get a haircut and, like, wearing, like, decent clothes, and, like, you look decent again. You get some attention from, you know, male or female or whatever. And you start feeling better about yourself, and you might have a little job and a couple dollars, and, like, you think shit's good, and
it's a slippery slope.
It's very easy to forget. And then you feel like to reward yourself for how good you feel, it's time to get high.
Yep.
I think a lot of people suffer from that, man. That happens to a lot of people. But I was at a point, man, I was so low. You know what I mean? I had fractured every relationship that I had at that point.
Yep.
I had nothing. Just clothes. I had no ownership of anything. Not even over my own life. And I needed to get ahead of it. One, obviously, to look better for courts, hopefully get some sort of diversion, try to avoid jail time if I could, you know, whatever. Because I was all by myself, man. I had nobody, you know what I mean? There's no way out. You know, it's all me.
At that point, after rehab, were you thinking, all right, self-preservation, I'm gonna get sober for that? Or at that point were you really thinking like, man, maybe I should try to hang this up? Like, at what point did you start seeing, because I know a lot of people, they talk about they went because they were court ordered and then they stayed because they found.
Now this time I wasn't. And like I said, I was trying to make, do it because I needed it for court, but I also needed to.
Yeah.
And at some point along that, first couple 30 days, I just realized, like, man, like, I just never want to get high again. I never want to be in this situation again.
Yep.
I think the worst thing in life is lost potential.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just wasting. And,
lost time.
Yeah, man. And I just, and I remember being so nervous. And after, because, eventually I'm going to have to, pay for this consequence. And
yep.
I remember just thinking, to myself, I'm doing this because I just want to.
Yep.
I just want to be clean. Whether I go to jail or I can get another chance, I just want to. I don't want to do this. And I can't live like this anymore, man. I was too tired.
Yeah.
It's too tired.
You were
man.
sick and tired of being sick and tired.
As cliche as that is, man, people get to that point.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? And
you were just.
That was it, bro. That was it for me, man. And I still still the ego's still there, man. Still wanting attention from girls in rehab. You know what I mean? Gambling, messing around. Like, we would do dumb shit, man. Getting in trouble, almost got kicked out of there. Like, that kind of shit, man. Doing it.
Sure.
Everything on the line. Then I came to also a point, it's actually a crazy fucking story. I needed somewhere to go afterwards. I had nowhere to go. And I wanted to continue the structure.
After
rehab. So applied to halfway houses. All this stuff. Get back from halfway houses. It was like, wow, they weren't getting back to me. It was weird. Then we finally looked into it, and they weren't willing to take me because of my pending charges.
Okay.
And I don't know why that is. I never found out why, but that was the reasoning. So I had nowhere to go. So the only place I could go was 3/4 house. And I didn't have no fucking money, Mark.
Right.
I had no fucking money.
Yeah, and it's like still like $300 a month or something.
$400 was what it was. I had nowhere to go. And I remember my counselor, we were getting closer and closer to the date. My counselor just said, listen, no matter what, we're not putting in for another extension. You're leaving here. Yeah. And I remember the day I was supposed to leave her, I had no idea where the fuck I was going. She had signed me up. It's one of my best friends now, one of his 3/4 houses up here in Mount Washington. And man, he held a bed for me for a week. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know how the fuck is this gonna work? Like, is he just gonna let, you know what I mean? Nobody told me anything. We get there at like 7 a.m. to eat breakfast before I'm supposed to get on the bus, and then the rest of people go on with their day, and my counselor shows up 3 hours early to work, hands me $400, gives me a hug, and just wishes me
No way.
I swear to God, bro.
Wow.
Absolute angel, man. Just, and that, now mind you, now I get to Pittsburgh, sitting on this stranger's couch. Nobody's home because everybody's working. I have $400 in my hand.
Yes.
I have nothing bounding me. I could have left right then and there, went and got high, and started it all over again.
Yep.
And I fucking sat there scared to death, dude.
Yep.
And next thing you know, he says one of my best friends to this day, man. He walks in the door. He's fucking 5'1", little dude, and he was the most, again, one of those moments. He's one of the most intimidating moments of my life. I remember thinking to myself, like, holy, I felt so little. Yep. And the rest of my life changed from there, man. The people in that house, the people that I got linked up with, and I just grabbed their coattails, and I didn't fucking stop.
Yep.
Went relentlessly to meetings. I had nothing else better to do. You know, got a couple shitty jobs just to get some money. You know what I mean? I was cutting hair in the house, stuff like that. And then, yeah, you know what I mean, man? It just carried me for...
You just got plugged in, bro. You got involved.
Man. I got involved.
That's what it takes, bro. I talk to people a lot, even people maybe that I'm working with, you know, sponsoring. And it's like, I don't know what it is. My ego as an addict, I want somebody to be giving me attention.
Sure.
Like, I want somebody
Absolutely.
to be like, I'm like that guy in the corner that's like, I'm lonely, but I won't reach out. Like, I want somebody to see how Mark's doing, you know? Yeah. And I don't know why the fuck I act that way, but you really, it takes putting yourself out there and getting a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I was never really much of a, like, partier, I would say. I was just more of like a lone wolf. Right. Get fucked up and talk to myself in the mirror type guy.
I'm an internalizer too, man.
So, like, getting to be like, hey, man, like, you guys are going to go bowling after the meeting? Can I come along? Like, that was so weird for me, but I had to do that shit.
And also being, like, in that, especially early on, the amount of, whether you like it or not, the amount of humility that you have to experience, especially if you have nothing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to bum a cigarette, or people are going to buy you cigarettes, or to take the help, especially, and this is nothing, no diss to women, and I'm sure for them it's probably somewhat the same. But as a man, right? Like, your perception of a man up until that point, like being able to ask, to even get on your knees and pray, is a form of humility that maybe some like myself never fucking experienced.
Yeah,
I never experienced that. So, and I took it, and I, dude, I mean, I think a large in part, I'd say, like, I guess, I don't want to call it success, but like the amount of time I've been clean and where I've gone in my life, if it wasn't for the people that were placed in my life, dude, at the time they were placed in my life, like, if I would have went to that halfway house and got accepted, if I wouldn't have been handed the money to go to that 3/4 house, where would my life be?
Isn't that what they talk about with, like, divine timing, right? Like,
it's, dude, divine.
There is no other way to describe
question.
It, because I think about different situations. Like,
yes,
if I hadn't, whenever I was getting sober, I was kicked out of my apartment that I was living in with my girlfriend because I was a piece of shit and getting high and cheating and all this other stuff. And I didn't want to go face my parents.
Sure. No.
So I was like sleeping in my sister, such a sweetheart. I love you, sis. But she,
shout out to the sisters out there, because
she was like, she let me like crash in her basement. So I'm like speeding, and I'm in my sister's basement. I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I doing, dude? Like, this is crazy. Like, and I honestly, like, it was one of those things where, like, I don't know if I would have called anyone for help about getting sober if I wasn't literally actively out of my mind and in that weird situation, you know? But it's like divine timing, you know?
Yeah,
so
it is.
I think that takes us to, you know, you're starting to cut hair again. Is that around the time
that's another thing, dude? That was just, I mean, it goes right along with what you just said, dude. I mean, I'm in this house, whatever, I'm acclimated, man. Dude, 6 months in, I was kind of placed in, not placed, but if it wasn't for a certain individual, just believed in me, dude. Yeah. And I was made house manager. Fucking 6 months clean, dude. I don't even know, dude. I haven't gotten my head out of my ass even remotely close. I'm still in my large intestine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro, I get it.
Like, I am absolutely, and I am doing all the wrong things, bro. I am fucking only focused on women. Yeah. Clothes, material things, nothing internal, whatever. And one of the guys, the guy that owned the house, he had another house down the street in Mount Washington. One of the guys there was a barber, and he worked at Southside Barbershop. And I used to hang out at that house a lot because the guys, we all were close, both houses. Yeah. And he worked there, and he was cutting hair, and he got me an in, man. That was my in. And I, to this day, regardless of what our relationship is, you know, month to month, year to year, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't know how long it would have taken me to get back in. And I had no license. Nothing. And he said that one of the managers there down here was going to be quitting Sundays, and that the manager there said that I could take his day. That's huge, right? And the fucking owner didn't even know I was working there for like months. Didn't even know who I was. Because at the time he had 2 shops and like 30 employees. So dude, I just snuck in, bro.
And for people that don't know, down here we're on Carson Street. Carson Street is like a den of debauchery, but there's like 12 tattoo shops and like fucking 10 barber shops.
Well, at the time there was only, I think, 4, but now there's like, close to like 10 to 15 now. It's insane.
If you want a haircut and you're in Pittsburgh and you don't have a guy, you just go to Southside. Like there's just like, there's tons of capable.
It's like we can window shop, literally.
Yeah,
just window
exactly.
shop.
And so it's definitely your classic barber culture. I think like street shop barber culture, and that's where I met Josh. Actually, I was getting my hair cut down there, and I met you while you were still there. But I think you were starting to transition. So I was you were working at some other shops,
So I was splitting time. The guy used to work for. He had another shop. When I first started working there, he just opened up a shop out in Gibsonia on Route 8. So I was just literally willing to take any chair I could get in. Yes. And we had to start my apprenticeship all over again. I couldn't, like, the barber board didn't have my hours. It was weird. So it was just easier to start all over. Yeah, he had a shop out there. So I worked out there, and I kept the day in Southside. Sunday was my day. Yeah. And then he opened one in Wexford. And when I met you, I think I was splitting time between the shop in Wexford and Southside. So I'd like work 3 or 4 days down here, and then I worked 2 or 3 days out there. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then I guess, at what point did you think, bro, I've been doing this long enough. I want to step out, and I want to make a really good, like, you know, luxury style elevated barber concept. Everybody there is doing great work. Yeah. Like, how did that start to materialize?
I just always paid attention, bro. Like, most guys that get into a shop, and especially like, at that time, the way the barber culture was, it wasn't so like individualized, and like Booksy wasn't like a huge thing. Walk-ins were still massive, but you know, you still had your clientele or whatever, but I was always paying attention to the business side.
Yeah.
How things worked, how to deal with employees, just little things. And I was just so over, I guess, like the traditional barber shop.
Yeah.
I guess is what I like, you know what I mean? I was just over that, like being in like a pig pen and clients on top of you and you're cutting in front of them like you're some circus animal, and you know, and I was kind of over that. I was kind of over the way they operated, and at that time, post COVID, you know, it got real individualized. Booksy was a big thing. Booking was a big thing. Kind of becoming your own brand, even though you're working for somebody else. You know, kind of started. And I'd always had a dream to open my own shop, obviously, but the idea of that changed over time, man. I wanted a real minimalist look. I didn't want the like super like red, white, and blue barbershop look. I didn't want the, you know, I didn't want that traditional look, you know, just a bunch of stations set up and everybody's cutting, you know what I mean? It kind of, but I had learned along the way, I'd taken pieces from shops that my boss at the time had owned and things that he had done. And then I looked at other barber cultures in different states, and I shared that same ideas with my partner. You know, luckily, you know, he was young and he had kind of been a boss early.
Yeah.
You know, he'd never worked for anybody, so he had that experience, and they did it differently. And I think I just, you know, I always told myself, when I leave here, I'm gonna be my own boss.
Yes.
I'm not going and working for somebody else again.
But I will say too, like, you didn't like jump the gun on it. You were very patient with that, right?
So
because like you were
patient,
kind of like an OG once you started your own setup. Right?
Yeah, I had so many offers, man. People were like, "Oh man, I'll give you the money to start it."
Yeah.
All this stuff, and I'm grateful that I was patient.
Yes.
Because I don't know if it would have worked out the way that it did. I don't know if we would have got the product that we got now. You know what I mean? And
because when you're, I mean, let me ask you this: like, what from your sobriety, your time, your years in recovery. By the way, how many years do you have?
Coming up in April will be 9.
Yeah, it's crazy.
9 years clean. Yep.
So, how did those principles and stuff,
sure, man,
help you to stay patient? Because like one of the things that, as addicts, at least for me, I have a major problem with patience, and I like to just jump into shit and get it done. You know?
Yeah, spontaneous. Yeah, no, I get it. I think just the resilience, being vigilant, bro. Knowing, like, you know, when it's my time, it's my time. You know what I mean? Not making rash moves. You know, you learn that because you experience that early in recovery, right? You're doing all kinds of dumb shit and there's no thought to it. You know, there's no commitment. You know what I mean? And I think I learned that from, and I gained a work ethic. From recovery. It's kind of the same, right? Like, you know, even when I didn't want to do it, you know what I mean? I went, you know, as a saying, I applied that the same to work. And then I think, you know, transitioning into becoming my own man, it's just like, no matter what, bro, no matter what, I'm going to stay clean, no matter what. And we got that shop together, dude. No joke, Mark, in 3 months.
Yeah, I know it came together really fast.
3 months, like, well, you know, the idea had been there. We've been looking through, me and Nick had been looking for avenues, and oh God, I can't believe it, say it now. We were going to do a sola until we could figure out a way into, you know, whatever. We found the spot in July, and we were open by October. But we didn't get to start remodeling. The internal remodel from the landlord started in September. So we got in there basically like August 1st, like the keys in to make it look the way we made it want it to look. So it was literally a month, bro.
Yeah.
And I think it was just that no matter what mentality, man. Like, I've always had a good work ethic. You know, I remember, like my dad, dude, 6 days a week. My dad would get up, go to work, bro, until he was 77. Grinder, man. Just no matter what, put your head down and fucking get to the grindstone. And that could be detrimental. but it's also
a superpower, bro.
Yeah, it is a superpower,
superpower.
100%. And I think that was that, man. Just, yeah, man, just being vigilant, staying resilient, bro.
And did you also, for me, a big part for me is like when I started realizing that I didn't have always the best gut reaction or whatever, you know, I obviously lean a lot on like mentorship, sponsorship.
Sure.
And I always bet, like, I don't make decisions without bouncing shit off of
Absolutely.
probably several people that have more experience, more time.
Absolutely.
Were you kind of in that headspace too?
I mean, as far as the business is concerned,
Just like, yeah, like, hey, am I moving too, you know how like
Sure.
you get in those circles
Yeah.
where you're like, hey man, check my logic, bro.
no,
real
right,
quick,
because
know?
you always want that, bro, and you never want anybody that's going to co-sign you.
Yes.
You never want anybody because that's dangerous.
Yep.
It's extremely dangerous, whether it's for your sobriety or it's for your just life decisions, right?
Yep.
I did. A lot of my friends in recovery, my sponsor.
Yep.
My sponsor's somebody who's dude, he is driven by the spirit, man. That
Yep.
dude is, I chose him because of his passion, because I'm a passionate person.
Yep.
And he never told, I don't think he ever really told me like, you know, like a kind of like a careful sense, like, well, watch this and, you know, be careful with that. It's always just like, if you feel the time is right, then do it.
Yep.
And thank God, like I said, thank God, man. I've been contemplating for a while. COVID kind of came into the picture and kind of sidelined things because one of my defects is I'm a fucking procrastinator, bro. I'm a massive procrastinator. So it took me an additional year to get my license than it should have.
Yep.
And mind you, I've been practicing barbering since I was 17, but I didn't get my license, bro, until I was fucking 30.
Yeah.
It's a true story. And that's
crazy, and that's just because
insane. First off, it took 9 months. Then I had this, right before COVID, there's this period where you get your hours are completed, but you have to then apply for temporary license. And at the time, there was somebody that lied to my boss, told him he had a license, he didn't. Somebody turned him in. So there was an investigation put on the barbershop. So my boss had to literally tell me, like, look, you got to apply for this license. And, but until you get that temporary, you can't work here.
damn.
Yeah, because he had already had a strike from somebody else doing the same thing, kind of the same thing. So it's like massive fines and you can lose your shop license. So I was kind of like put in this fucking...
So you had to get it.
Dude, and mind you, this is the beginning of the year, 2020.
Yep.
Just found out I'm having a baby.
Jeez, bro.
Essentially lost my fucking job for the most part. Dude, it was rough. And he secretly let me work there 1 day a week.
Yeah. Just to like make ends meet.
Yeah, so I would have to come in there like towards the end of the day on Fridays. And then, you know, and it took me like 2 months to get my temp license, bro, because nobody ever that's the good thing about the school is the school will do that for you. My boss didn't know how to do it, so I had to figure it out all on my own.
Damn,
and
man,
let me tell you that whole barber system law, it is archaic. And it took me 2 months. Now, mind you, boom, then 2 months, I finally get it. What happens? Lockdown.
Damn.
Fucking lockdown, bro. It was and then at that point, man, I was so determined. And then I got back to work, and I was just on a mission.
Yeah.
At that point, and I'd had an opportunity to work for somebody else at a very cheap rate, like we were talking about earlier off camera.
Yep.
And a friend of mine opened a shop over on Liberty Avenue in Bloomfield.
Yep.
A great opportunity, and I didn't take it. Because I again, like I said, I was resilient, man. I was not going to work for somebody else again.
You weren't settling.
I was not
You've
settling.
been in the game for long enough.
Too long, man. It was my time. And yeah, so, yeah, bro, it was crazy. And you know what I mean? And fast forward, bro, it was same thing, bro. Like, I was not going to stop, and we got it together, bro. We did it. It was unbelievable just the way it worked out. But Southside was starting to turn, bro. It was starting to rot. And I think that wasn't necessarily my signal, but it was kind of the time. I'd gotten to a point where I really wasn't able to take walk-ins.
No.
So the shop really was just a home for me.
Yeah.
You know, I got my license. It was all good. My boss gave me more than enough opportunities to do it, man. And thank God for him, man. He's an intricate part of my story and just kind of the way things worked out. If he didn't give me the chances and the opportunities,
I think I met that guy. Yeah.
JC, man, he's a fucking great dude, crazy motherfucker. He's a crazy motherfucker, larger than life kind of character.
Yes, yeah.
Seriously, bro. And
yeah, dude. So
he took a shot on me, bro. Yep.
So basically, you and Nick opened up, and I've also tattooed Nick for the record. Opened up Luxury Barber Studio.
Yeah.
And up in Zelionople. Mm-hmm. Was that a little bit scary for you, like being like, damn, this is far from the city? Like,
no.
You were just like, fuck it.
I was confident, extremely confident. I had, again, one of the pieces that I had taken from JC was that no matter, like, so he had opened up shops in the North Hills. And one of the things that the North Hills didn't really have was a lot of barbershops. Yeah. City's oversaturated. It's a million barbershops. There's fucking 10 on this street,
literally,
bro.
so many, bro. Yeah.
10 on this street.
On this street, yeah.
So what you're just another shark in the sea.
Yeah.
Why not be a shark in your own?
Yep.
And that's how I looked at it, man. And I'd seen it work. And I'd seen that there's a demand. And there wasn't a demand out there. And we were on one of the very few main streets you're gonna find that was bumping and coming. A lot of money was being put into it. Yeah. People were moving out there. They were building houses, and it was a perfect storm. And we got in at the right time. And yeah, man, and the rest was history, bro. It was literally all timing. And amazing. Again, it just goes back to like, what if we would have done it like later? What if, you know what I mean? Would we be the second shop? Would we be trying to catch up? Yep. You know, it was timing. Like I said, me and Nick were going to settle for a Sola just to have a spot, you know, and yeah,
you're glad you didn't, bro.
Yeah, man.
It worked out.
We got a good spot. We got good landlords, man. They were willing to work with us, help us get it open. It's actually crazy. They had a bunch of people looking at the spot, right? Yeah. And when they asked us, like, okay, well, what are you guys? What's your business? And we told them a barbershop because we couldn't get out there till like the next week to see it because we all were still working. Yeah. And all three of us had 2 kids plus, you know what I mean? Yeah. And when we told them we were a barbershop, they said, all right, we'll hold the spot. We won't sign any leases. We won't let anybody else come see it.
Because they wanted it.
They knew, well, I think they were going through a period where they didn't want people like leasing it year to year. Yeah. They wanted something long term. So we also made a really scary deal. We asked them for something as far as a build out. Yep. But they asked us something contractually in return.
Like 5 years or something.
10.
Damn, bro. Yeah, that is, hey, bro.
Do the math, number one. Do the math, okay? And that's a long commitment, brother.
It is a long commitment.
If it tanks, we're on the line, we're on the hook for a lot of fucking money. Yeah. Okay? So, but we were confident, bro. And I think that was about the only fear that I had faced was like, and I think that was from other people. Not naysayers, but people like, that's kind of like sketchy. Like, I don't know about that. Yeah. And I never signed a fucking commercial lease in my life, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know how it works.
So you're like, fuck, I'm putting a lot of trust in,
bro, belief
in God in this
and
one,
faith, bro. Yep. Absolute faith. Absolute faith. The mission.
So, and now, like, you guys have been there, what, 3 years?
Yeah, a little bit over 3 years. Yep.
Amazing, bro.
Yeah, bro.
And I guess segueing into a couple of the other thoughts that I had. We're making good progress on this piece, by the way, which is sick. But a couple of the other thoughts I had was like, you know, how you've talked about how you're a grinder. I'm a grinder. I relate to this a lot. How do you deal with the constant, like for me, I'm a people person. I can have a conversation with 1 or 2 people, but I get overstimulated really easily.
Me too, bro.
How do you deal with like that barbershops, tattoo shops. We're a service, right? How do you deal with talking to so many people a day?
Yeah.
And then coming home and not just fucking melting into your, or do you? What's your balance?
It's funny. It's funny you said that.
Because you're a family man, and I really respect that.
It's a very real thing. Okay. And so that was a problem for a while. Shout out to my girl, because I'll tell you what. For a while, that was always a problem. You know what I mean? Like, she would, how was your day? The typical stuff. I'm sure your girl does the same shit, bro. And I have talked to, now I'm working, there's about 50, average about 50 customers that walk into our shop a day.
Yeah.
Right? And we're having the same conversation or multiple conversations over and over again, Mark.
Yep.
And yes, it is so fucking draining. I am a talker, and to the point where it's almost too much. And
me too. But it's weird because it's like, what else do you do to fill that fucking space, bro?
And like, I get wrapped up in it, and I'm super passionate, I'm animated, and by the time I come home, I got nothing to give, man. I got nothing to give to the most important people in my life. And we went through a period there, bro, where, I hated it, and you could tell it was straining her and our relationship. Sure. And I, I had to have this conversation with her, like, you know what I mean? Like, I come home and I got nothing left to give, and it's a terrible feeling, bro, because you can't control it. Yep. Like, I just want to come home, and I want and that's supposed to be my peace, but they need from me what everybody else needs from me too. Yep. They need some energy. They need, you know what I mean? My kids need me. They want to talk, you know what I mean? And I think I found best for me, man, is on the way home to not rush home. Find solace. Yep. I've started to, once I'm done for the day, man, clean up, run the shop, whatever, and I'll sit down. Give me 10, 15 minutes to decompress. Yep. Collect my thoughts, man. Kind of stop the running in my head. And then I appreciate the ride home to continue that. I think that kind of gets me centered to be able to come home and deal with whatever's going on. Yeah. Because my house is chaos. Yeah. I got an infant at home. I got a 5-year-old and we got an 11-year-old, and it's chaos. And my girl's, cooking dinner or dealing with the kids, and sometimes she's fed up with them, or sometimes it's great. And I gotta kind of, because also, that shit would shift into anger, man, because I would come home and
you're like, fuck, dude, I've had such a long day.
The energy is just off or crazy. And I'm like, fuck. I try to find that solace first, bro. I try to find that peace first, step in and try to maybe in some days, because some days, and it's a lot, man, it's a lot to put on yourself, but some days maybe I have to be that peace. Yep. And some days I just sit down, I try to decompress, and not always I'm able to do that, man. And I think balance is a unicorn, bro. Yeah. It's a work in progress. If you find it, capture it, try to replicate it. I think it's impossible.
That's a gem. Balance is a unicorn, man.
It is, bro. It is a fucking unicorn, man. And
lean into it when you got it. Yep. Don't take it for granted.
No.
But you can't necessarily expect it all the time.
No. And I don't think you're going to find a perfect balance, and every day you're going to come home and it's going to be the same.
And that's tough for me because I'm such a fucking, I'm such a rigid routine guy. Me too. Like, addict, right? Control.
Right, control.
So I'm like, fuck, dude.
Greatest drug of all.
It's so hard when I'm away or whatever, like outside of my routine. But I think you're absolutely right, man. I'm starting to realize that, like, there's only, obviously we have to have high standards and all these things, but you got to have some grace with shit, man.
You definitely do. And I think it, again, like, she eventually, my girl was able to understand, but my kids will never understand that. Not now.
They're too young.
So
man.
When I come home, it's daddy, 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 and that usually uplifts me. That gets me in, dude. That's something I don't take for granted.
Yep.
It's their faces and it's every day.
Their energy.
Oh my God, they're so happy, and like it just like that kind of will bump me up, and like I can kind of match the energy of the room. I can either kind of de-escalate the situation, or maybe sometimes I'm frustrated and I don't make it any better, but it's tough, man. And I think that acknowledgement that, hey, like, look, I'm drained. I'm sorry. I don't have anything to give. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right now. And then, try to make up for it, I think is big. The time that you do have to kind of have those conversations, because we'll get into a mode or autopilot where
months you're just grinding.
Like we don't talk much and the, you know what I mean? And it's just overload. You're getting through the days, man. You're waiting until bedtime and then you're just exhausted. And I think communication's huge, man. And I'm not the best at it, but I'll tell you what, it's massive, man. It's identifying the problem at the very least and trying the best you can the moment you have to circumvent that. You know what I mean?
That's huge, man. And I appreciate that advice too, because like that's always a challenge. And I think it's going to be more of a challenge too. Like, I'm lucky in the sense that my wife has a job that she's very independent. She's a photographer. It's almost like, her own freelance thing. But, at some point, if, we'd like to have kids, like,
sure,
she's going to be around the house more. And I've definitely taken for granted the amount of independence that she's given me, because she's like doing her own thing. So she's not like, she gets what, but at some point she's going to be there. The kids, she's going to want more attention. So I got to 100%. I got to be willing to
100%
to adjust that. You know what I mean?
It's tough, bro. It's fucking tough. And I'll say like my girl works from home. So she gets some time away from the kids, and then then she has a couple hours with them before I get home, and it's tough because we'll battle back and forth, like who's got it tougher? We both do.
Yeah, bro.
It's just in different arenas, and I think it is coming to an understanding. You know what I mean? That we're both in this together.
Yep.
Never try to separate or project
or rank each other.
Yeah, ranking is the worst.
Keeping points.
No, terrible. And we
idea.
both can do that.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, like, I've been standing up on my feet for 10 hours and just talking to people I don't want to talk to, or having the same conversation fucking 10 times.
And your wife's like, bro, I've been making food for a 5-year-old.
I've been trying to
get
a 5 and a 2-year-old to listen. and that, you know what I mean? And I come home and I kind of help those duties, but then she kind of caters to me, and it's wild, man. It's tough. And I think it's just never, don't verse each other. Don't be at war with each other. You know what I mean? It's very tough, man. I think one of my big things that I'm gonna try to, and again, I'm a procrastinator, so I'll get an idea and it'll take me forever to execute. Sometimes, right? It's usually the stuff that's the best for me. Healthiest for me, the whatever. And I think I remember at a point when I was working in Southside full time, and I think the best schedule I ever had was 4 days. 4 days a week. And I did that when my daughter was first born, to kind of, to help out my girl. She was a stay-at-home mom for about 3 years. And that was the best, man. I think I was when I was the happiest, and we had more time together, and weight off of each other, and you know what I mean? And I think that I can condense my work down to 4 days, and it won't hurt any, it'll actually probably book me out further. But yeah, man, I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I was gonna adjust my schedule, change my hours, and I have, and then I was gonna change them again, but I think I'm just gonna cut a day off, man.
Yeah, bro. I mean, and with that type of stuff, do you kind of like, look, hey, this is how much I'm losing for taking this day off, so I got to increase my prices this much to accommodate for that? Is that kind of how you think about it?
So I think that's kind of been the fear, or the driving force to like stop me is like, okay, I'm going to take a cut, I'm going to take a pay cut. But it is just so cliche. Like, is the money worth?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, is it, I'm getting one thing for another. You know what I mean? It's like I'm getting probably the happiness, the stress relief, I'm helping more at home if I do that.
But that also, first of all, two things. It takes maturity to realize that. And second, you've probably put in, like at this point, you said you're 40 years old. You've put in those grinding years.
Oh, God.
Right? I'm grinding right now, so I know that I'm accepting that I'm working kind of crazy hours
Yeah.
because I know at some point when I have kids, I'm going to be mentally and physically and hopefully
Yeah.
more financially prepared to take a step back to be
Yeah.
like, okay, it's okay.
100%. When like at your age, I first got into it. I was working 7 days a week.
Grinding, yeah, 6-7 days,
6, 7
100%.
days. I do 30 days in a row. I do 16 days in a row. Take a day off. I mean, nonstop, insane. But the problem, what sucks is even with my own business, I continued that fucking work ethic to the point where it was unhealthy.
Yeah, it was unhealthy.
You know, like why am I working this late on a Friday and Saturday? Knowing that I can shorten my hours, knowing that I don't have to be here all.
It's really hard. That's something
Yeah.
that people don't talk about enough. When you own your own business and you get to determine how much you want to make based on how much you work, it's so hard to leave that money on the table, bro.
100%.
So hard.
100%. And you don't. It's so hard to realize, like, oh my God, like, I could stop this if I want. I'm not expected to be here.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I'm in full control now, and
and
it's really hard to alleviate yourself from that, man. It's tough. Again, and sometimes it's not just because of the money. Sometimes it's just what I'm used to.
Yeah, dude, it's a routine. It's the grind culture. Like, guys, there's an aspect of masculinity that's like, oh 100%. Man, like we're just grinders, man. You know, and like
to the
I
point
love
where
that.
it's unhealthy.
I love that, but
so
it's really
unhealthy.
at some point, like I look at, I'm blessed to have older siblings, and I love my older siblings, but I've seen some of them really worked to the bone, and I'm like, dude, I don't want that.
It's my dad, man, and I never, you know, and as much as he was such a example of principle that I ignored for so long, but now I recognize now is same thing with him, man, and I don't want to be like that, and I'm on that path. And I'm inching away from it, but so I mean, and I've been thinking so many ways in my head, ways out, and or just ways to put whatever. But yeah, man, it's tough. It's not easy, bro.
Now, and I guess last two things I want to talk about. If you are somebody interested in pursuing barbering, what do you think it takes, or what is some advice you'd give to the younger you? You know?
Ooh.
Maybe touch on the social media shit we talked about earlier.
Sure. I mean,
off camera, we were talking about how it's changed a lot.
As far as people now, I mean, you are you're so fortunate. We didn't have YouTube videos, we didn't have social media, we didn't have all these influencers, we didn't have all this just wealth of knowledge. But I will say this is, don't start at the finish line. Do not start at the finish line. You're not going to get out of barber school and be handed 6 figures.
So you're saying don't open your own spot right away.
Well, that's the thing.
Don't earn your stripes.
It's like, understand that, the people you see online, this is where they're at now.
Yes.
Maybe take a second to recognize what it took for them to get there and how long. Would they start, it's a different era. So now it is more of like a boss era. It's more individual, right? Like, even if you work at a shop, you kind of are running your own clientele, your own book, things like that. Situations are different. I had a boss that it didn't matter if you had a full day's worth of clients. You were expected to be there at start time and stay till it ended. So thank God for that. I think that, things are very different now. You know what I mean?
So you also accept, like, you're not one of those old heads.
No.
Because we can all get caught in this where it's like younger guys are doing better, so it's like, let's just fucking shit on them.
No.
There are certain things you have to be true to, but then there's also things that, like, hey, man, times change.
Yeah. And I don't care how fast you get to a point where, but just know that it takes time. And I think that a lot, and I have a couple friends that have went to barber school recently that are, like, hey, dude, like, you need experience. And it's not to shit on a barber school, but they're not teaching you trends. They're not teaching you how to conduct business. You have to go get experience.
Yeah.
Go into the woods, man. Grind your teeth a little bit. Learn. And because I see this all the time. See these guys work 4, 5, 6 different fucking shops, and you haven't even been a barber for 6 years.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
Yeah.
Dude, clientele is everything.
Yep.
Once you obtain a clientele, you obtain a certain power that it doesn't matter what you do, where you work. You know what I mean? You have obtained the grail. That's what it's all about, man. And these guys that influence people, man, it took them a certain grind to get there. So that means, and I don't expect a lot from my guys. I just expect, and like, luckily we have gotten so lucky with the two that we have. But man, like, I just expect I get passion.
Yeah.
You'll get to the money.
Yeah.
Don't be influenced by the money.
Embrace the craft.
Embrace the craft. Get
first,
good,
and the money.
Get good
yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Then
and the money will come.
Then get good fast, like with timing.
Yeah, dude.
Then, you know what I mean? Build clientele. Treat every client like they're a client forever.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Be as professional as you can, with a little bit of yourself mixed in. But I think the problem is that there's this image that we make a bunch of money and that you're entitled to that. I think there's a certain level of people being entitled now that they expect a certain career as soon as they get out. Right.
Yeah, I see these guys on Instagram doing it. No. It's a grind to get to that spot.
It is a grind to get to that. And just be patient. Your time will come, 100%. And hopefully it comes faster for some people. Faster than what my experience was, or maybe some others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But soak up as much information. Ask questions. Don't be better than. Don't think that you got it figured out. There's always new techniques. I'm fucking 20 years in it and I'm still trying out new things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, bro. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that's great advice. And I don't know. I feel like we covered a bunch of shit, bro. I feel like we went over a story. We went over the barber stuff, and then also, spit a little bit of game on just what we've learned, right? Growing in these trades. I think it's interesting. The last thing I wanted to touch on too is like, there's that. I've seen these memes like barber, tattooer, like.
Yeah.
But it's really, I think there's just so many parallels. I think it's because of
so many,
the types of clients, they talk about barbershop talk or salon talk or whatever, tattoo shop talk.
Sure.
Same stuff, right?
Sure.
But, man, I appreciate you, dude. We're going to keep working on this piece, but thank you for tuning in. We're going to get this all blocked out, hopefully finish what we got mapped out today, and we'll show this at the end of the video. But thank you, Josh, for chopping it up with me.
Absolutely.
And excited to keep working on this piece, man.
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
Oh, man.